and night. I toss and turn, I keep stressing.
What's up, guys? 50 here with a brand new video, and this time I'm going to be talking about one of the UFC's fastest and youngest rising stars, Israel Adesanya, who currently fights in the middleweight division of the UFC. Now, if we all know Israel, he just started out last year, and he's a winner of 5 straight in the UFC with an undefeated record. Now, he started out his career when he knocked out Rob Wilkinson in the second round. After that, he came back pretty quickly and beat Melvin Vettori by split decision. And then he came back again, not even 2 or 3 months later, against Brad Tavares, and this time it was a 5-fight round. His first 5-fight round, that was a main event with the tough finale, and he beat him by unanimous decision. After that, he made a quick turnaround once again, and he knocked out Derek Brunson in the first round. And not even 2 months ago, he beat Anderson Silva, considered one of the biggest legends in the UFC, by unanimous decision. Now, he's currently looking at trying to become the first, no, not the first, but he's trying to become the second Nigerian-born UFC champion in history. Now, the first one, as we all know, is Kamaru Usman, who just beat Tyrone Woodley in UFC 235 by unanimous decision and by spectacular fashion. You know, Kamaru, he's a bright star in his future as well, and I believe in Adesanya as well. And the thing with Adesanya is that I really believe that he hasn't been truly tested yet during his short time here in the UFC. He's had 5 fights within a year, and that's completely unbelievable. And he's looking at trying to become a champion, as he is soon going to fight Kelvin Gastelum for the interim UFC middleweight championship of the world. Now, I honestly believe, honest to God, I do believe that Israel is going to make some pretty good work of Kelvin Gastelum. I believe he's going to win the belt and become the undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world when he does face off against Robert Whittaker to unify both belts at the end of this year. Now, as we all know, Whittaker was supposed to face Gastelum at UFC 234, but had to drop out because he suffered from a hernia. Now, the injury must be extremely severe because he's not supposed to be back until the end of the year, but he hasn't fought that many opponents these past 2 years, and the only person he's fought in his last 2 fights was Yoel Romero in the first match and Yoel Romero again for the rematch. Now, the second match was a whole lot better and a whole lot more entertaining than the first fight. The first fight was all Robert Whittaker, and the second fight was really back and forth. Yoel Romero had Whittaker in trouble during a number of times, and even knocked him down 2 times as well. I honestly thought Yoel should have won that fight, but the sports are crazy in a lot of different ways. So Whittaker ended up coming out, and he hasn't defended his belt ever since. But that's why they brought in the interim title in order to just have a champion while Whittaker's gone and unify the title when he does come back during the end of this year. And I honestly do believe that Israel is going to get that belt from Kelvin Gastelum, but it's not going to be easy though. I do see Adesanya getting a knockout probably in the 3rd round, but Kelvin is going to give him some trouble. He's probably going to go in, try to get a couple of takedowns, disturb Adesanya, and if I were Adesanya, I'd keep my distance, fake a couple of leg kicks, work the jab, and definitely be careful with the footwork as well. You know, having a lot of good footwork will definitely take Kelvin off of his game a little bit. But Kelvin, he does have heavy hands. He has knocked out plenty of opponents in the past. He did knock out Vitor Belfort. He did knock out Michael Bisping as well. So Kelvin is extremely dangerous. He's definitely going to be the hardest guy that Kelvin's faced that Israel has faced in his career so far. But Israel's up for the test. You know, he's a cocky guy. He's hard. He's brash, and he talks a lot of crap and he backs it up, just like Conor McGregor. You know, that's someone we look up to in UFC, someone who puts a lot of fans in the seats as well, and someone who's a fan favorite. And that's why Adesanya's gone to the spot where he's at right now. And if he can win this belt, he will unify the belt later on this year, and that definitely will be a tough matchup against Robert Whittaker. Robert, he's one of the heaviest hitters, if not the heaviest hitter in the middleweight division. He's knocked out plenty of guys before, And he's basically gone through the whole entire middleweight division. So this fight with Adesanya, if Adesanya does win against Kelvin Gastelum, will be definitely one of the biggest fights that the middleweight division has seen in a while. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. At the same time, that Adesanya does have to get his job done at UFC 236 in Atlanta. But Adesanya, he went 35-1 as a kickboxer in New Zealand, and he's definitely going to put those moving techniques to the test against Kelvin Gastelum. And I don't think Calvin's going to have an answer for that. Israel's striking is out of this world, and he's just a younger and better version of Anderson Silva, as a lot of people have already put out there. And he's already caught a lot of attention from the likes of John Jones, who's even said that he'd like to face Israel Adesanya in the future at light heavyweight. So Israel's already turning a lot of heads. He's made an immediate impact with only 5 fights in the UFC, and he's looking to become the second Nigerian-born UFC champion in the franchise's history. So a lot of good things. Israel does have a bright future at the same time. And that's all I basically have to say right there. It's going to be very interesting when this fight does come to fruition and when it does happen. And we're not too far away from it. So I can't wait to see what happens. And I know it's going to be a tough task for Israel, but I do believe he's going to come out with the W. And I do think he can knock out Kelvin Gastelum. I appreciate you guys for listening. I do plan on making more videos in the future. Thank you.